You know what time it is.
What's up, beer people?
If you heard it on the hashtag Beer Time, it's true.
It must be true.
It's true. It is fact. Please, won't you name one of your beers Cart Horse?
And just do something terrible. Just brew shit beer.
Stick your finger in there every now and again.
Stir it with a sock.
Every show, it feels like my first show.
Every show is a new adventure.
We're having some good conversation here, Mr. Troy.
Did I make sense there? I think I did.
I love them all.
Are we all fair?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Well, maybe not all ages, but hello and welcome to hashtag Beer Time, the show where we talk about all things beer. In today's episode, we have Olaf from Franschhoek Brewing Company. Now, Franschhoek is known for its wine, and in the last few years, we've seen an increase in brewers popping up in the area, and this has got to do with, well, what I believe is that the wine drinker is moving over to craft beer rather than the mainstream lager drinker moving over to craft beer. So we definitely chat about this kind of theme in the show. We also discuss the similarities when purchasing beer and purchasing wine and what the consumer looks for. We chat to Olaf about his love for beer, his love for microbreweries, the small batch tests that he does, food pairing, and we were also joined by Murray, co-host Murray. So there's some good banter, we ask some great questions, we drink some good beer, and we have a very cool show. So I'll let you get on with it. I hope you enjoy. Cheers. Oh, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, hello. How you doing? How you feeling? It's Tuesday. It's a few minutes past 12. And you are listening to the detective agency called hashtag Beer Time. With me, T-Bone Troy. What a great show we've got for you. Super stoked, super amped, super excited. Oh, I'm joined in the studio by the co-host. It's been a long time since he's been here. And I can just see, immediately as I said that, the numbers just start to trickle up. Yes, they definitely spike. And, Mazza, it is absolutely just wonderful to have you back on the show. How
My
you doing?
aching soul, it is good to be back.
Oh, I think there are thousands of women right now who are just swooning at your voice.
I think they're just going crazy for the background music, really.
And a percentage of men, I'd imagine.
Yeah, quite
also.
a big percentage in Cape Town. I think Trevor from Old Potters Inn is one of them.
Who's swooning at your voice. Oh, I will have to just say
I really hope Trevor's listening.
I really hope he is. I'm sure.
Yeah, I feel like he would have a very good reply to that. So
I think he would have a great reply. Yeah, he'll probably invite you to a festival or something, which we'll talk about coming up soon.
Or a night on him at the Old Potters Inn.
Careful how you mix your words. You might.
It's intentional.
It might be a language barrier.
It's intentional.
So today's show, it's not just Muzz and I in the studio. We have a special guest who is from Franschhoek Brewing Co. And his name is Olaf. Welcome to the show. I'm going to ask that you do pull your mic just a little bit closer, right? Yeah, you can pull that. Okay. And then there you go. Olaf, am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
Now, you're going to have to tell the people, the lovely listeners, who you are. We know who you are, but who are you, where are you from, and why do you have a Franschhoek Beer Co. shirt on?
So I'm the head brewer at Franschhoek Beer Company. Been there for about just under 3 years now. So when I started there, it was basically nothing, so from the ground up. So we've bought 5 beers worth today. So basically, those 5 beers, didn't just happen overnight. The last 2.5 years have been pretty much research and development, trying to, get the recipes to balance. We've got a small test brewery as well, that we do about 75 litre batches at each time. And basically, from there, we decided on these 6 beers. In the test brewery ourselves, we brewed just under 200 recipes, and from those 200 recipes we now decided on the 6 beers that we have. So it basically wasn't just trying to throw a whole bunch of ingredients together and then
which sometimes happens.
Slap a label on it and then try and sell it. So each of these beers have been very well thought about.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, I can't believe you said you've been there for 3 years. I mean, isn't that crazy to think, looking back?
Yeah, no, it is.
You've had 3 years here. Maza, how many years have you been at Metal Lane?
Since the beginning of 2016.
2016.
So
you're making love to that mic, eh?
It's 2 years.
You are. No, it's fine. You
2 years.
2 years, eh?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know, it flies by, eh? And it's exactly what Olaf says. I mean, I can 100%, it resonates with what I've been through. Whether it's you waiting for your liquor license or whether you are waiting for equipment or whatever, there's time, like that time you think it's dead space and there's nothing you can really do, but you like grafting.
Yes.
And you're really trying to put the hard yards in to make sure that when you do have a release or whatever, it's ready.
And most of the time it's just you. I mean, Olaf, is that true? I mean, when you started, when you were employed by these guys, was it a big team? Was it a small team?
Well, basically it was just me in the beginning.
Sure.
So for the first year we had the test brewery right from the beginning. So for the first year it was just research and development in the test brewery.
That's pretty cool.
A lot of the investors, we have two main investors. Throughout the research and development phase, I mean, there was a lot of beer drinking, obviously, and trying to
absolutely
get
nothing wrong with that.
Get the recipes right and things like that. So I mean, it was basically I was the one brewing the beer, but it was a complete collaborative way forward.
But I think I'm going to step in there, T-Bone, and say, when you say there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, I felt like when I was doing test batches and stuff and they weren't coming out the way you wanted, it's more like harrowing than enjoying the beer because you're like, ugh, like another step and like another adjustment. So it's like enjoyable, but it's not really like, it's got that downside.
And this is the underlying theme that we speak about on #BeerTime. It's playing the long game and not the short game.
Yeah.
So if you are going to be in for the long run as a brewer, you must surely your thought process is, okay, this beer needs a little tweak. I'm excited. I know now there's a scientific formula that you can follow and that you can adjust to get to where you want that final product to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's
sorry. But I mean, there was also lots of times where, I was the only one that tasted certain beers, where it went completely wrong. And you ended up, dumping that.
Well, thank goodness. You are so lucky that you had that, you were fortunate enough to have that kind of expense or to be able to throw it away.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the guys in South
75
Africa
liters is a nice size as well. Like it's a really nice test batch.
But there's some guys who go straight back into it, straight wham bammy into the market. 1,000 liters. I need to sell this, and if it's not, unfortunately, they still try and push it into the market.
Yeah.
Whereas we all know, ladies and gentlemen, that's not the right way to.
Can I interrupt again? So not the right way to start a show is to be 10 minutes in and not having sucked on the first.
I'm so excited, and you've distracted me with everything, and
let's get this.
I'm sweating. And I can't believe we literally have just been talking and not drinking.
Yeah.
So I'm going to open it. Olaf, why don't you do us the honors in explaining why is it called? What are we drinking? What's the first beer?
So the first one, that's the Three Oaks Craft Lager. Basically, we call it Three Oaks. The brewery is positioned under 3 oak trees that, we, in winter time, obviously it loses its leaves, provides a little bit of heat for the brewery, and then, in summertime, leaves gives a bit of natural shade. So also another thing is, was basically just meant to be a light, easy drinking beer. So 5% alcohol, IBUs around about 19. Style-wise, I would say it's more of a German Pilsner than a lager.
Okay.
So yeah. Very, very malt-forward beer.
It smells delicious.
100% Saaz in this one as well, so a little bit of herbaceousness towards the end.
I like.
But it's basically just meant to be a light, easy drinking beer, but very malt forward, so that's very true to a German Pils style.
I like that. I like what you said there. You know, you've called it a craft lager, but you, the brewer, you find it still to be more on the German Pilsner side. Yeah. And sure, we've chatted about this. I apologize to the people, the elements, what am I looking for? Troy, the long-time listeners of the show would know that we've had this chat before where we've spoken about calling your beer a lager. And we've kind of discussed that, and, you know, there's a movement, or there's a natural flow for a beer drinker to go towards lager. So I like what you've done here. You said it's a craft lager, but it's not what people should expect in terms of the mass drinker, the mass consumption, the mass beer.
But what I do also like about
it, a little bit of a hoppiness.
It is crafty, but it's also not too, like, as you say, for the mass drinker. It's different to what they drink, but it's not aggressively different. It's not like rude for them. They're going to be like,
sure,
yeah, I can see it's not what I'm used to drinking, but it's still bloody good.
That's exactly what we wanted. We wanted a nice introductory beer.
Yeah.
Because your guys taste the other beers just now, but a lot of our beers are quite big. So when it comes to bitterness, when it comes to alcohol, things like that.
Yeah.
So we want to have something that isn't too light, that will completely alienate the other beers.
Yeah.
But something that is a good step.
Well, I smashed that. That was delicious.
So I'm stoked that I put myself quite a bit, so I'm still going through mine, which I'm nothing wrong with that. Talk us through the owners. I know that am I correct in saying that Ruben Rifle is still a part owner?
Yeah, that's correct. Well, it's basically two main investors.
Yeah.
Frank Rodriguez and Alex McCormack, and then Ruben Rifle, he is a partner.
So Three Oaks can also refer to them.
That's actually exactly what our marketing people.
Wow. Hey, you should start a brewery.
Yeah, I'm quite sharp there. I'm going to launch a beer called One Prawn.
One Prawn?
Yeah.
Before, who are you?
Me.
Come now.
Yeah, sure. I thought maybe, it was quite good. I enjoyed it.
Nah, I'd name...
Yeah,
if you're going to name a beer after you, I'll call it...
This is going to be tense, eh?
Megatron.
No, that's Mornay.
Mega. So I'm trying to think of something to do with metal.
Well, let it stew.
I'll let it stew.
Yeah, let it work itself out. But I'm very glad I picked that up.
No, well done. It's very good.
I mean, it took us quite some time to decide to actually make a lager. In the beginning, we were also thinking of just doing ales. Production-wise, it's always a bit of a nightmare if you make a lager, especially if all your other beers are ales. But we decided,
especially the tricky thing with the lagers, I always think it's probably going to be. I mean, if you putting it in today, like in the mass markets, okay, if all of your beers, say you've got 4 ales, you've got an IPA and a pale ale and a Weiss and a stout, okay, and you've got the one lager. The lager's probably going to be, I don't know, because I haven't done it, but it's probably going to be moving the most, just because it's the most sessionable and it's the most accessible and all of that. But it's got the longest time in the tank, the longest time for brewing. So that for me is always like a little bit of a mind, like it gets me a bit because it's the highest. It could potentially be the highest turner, but it's the slowest. So it's like this weird.
It is a trade-off. You have to, when we plan our brews and things like that, you have to obviously we look at sales figures and see what's moving. But I mean, it's our lager production time. It takes about two months from brewing to bottling.
Yeah. Really, as long as that.
Yeah. I mean, that becomes a bit of an issue if you have to now decide what your stock levels are going to look like in 2 months from now.
Yeah. So, and what are the batch sizes?
We have 1,200 litre brewery. We do double batches, so we end up with about 2,000 litres of beer per batch.
Now, just for the people listening at home, and maybe for me in the studio, why do you age the beer? Why does it take 2 months for a lager to make as opposed to an ale? Maybe you could just tell the people that.
Well, the biggest difference, the two big differences are your fermentation temperature. We do a very, very cold fermentation, 9 degrees Celsius. So that, yeast is a living organism. So, much lower temperatures, you get much slower fermentation. But you want that in order to, have a clean beer. The other thing is we lager our beer for about 3 to 4 weeks. So, all of these factors, you put all these factors together and you end up, it takes a whole month extra to make. But the main reason why I want to lager is you want to clean up the beer. You want to have a nice, clean, crisp taste. You don't want any fruity aromas, anything like that. Really, the malt is meant to kind of be the star of the lager.
And so, just to wrap that question up, ales obviously don't need that much time, or they can come. Their fermentation is a bit more quicker. Or
yeah. So much warmer temperatures, you have much quicker fermentation, and you also don't need to lager ales because there you actually want some fruity aromas from the yeast and things like that.
Okay, so the lagering, as you referred to, that's the process just to let all those unwanted flavors just kind of settle and fall away,
and to clean up the beer as well. So after fermentation, we'll do what's called the diacetyl rest. So just quickly bring up the temperature to about 12, 13 degrees, and then we slowly start dropping it to lagering temperatures.
So so some people might have heard of this. I know it's one of my dad's favorite words to talk to me. Whenever I mention homebrewing, he always says, "Be careful of that diacetyl." So, Maza, maybe you could tell the listeners out there, as a beer judge yourself,
yes,
what's diacetyl or diacetyl is.
So it's something that's produced naturally by the yeast during the fermentation process, and at specific temperatures it produces it. Once the yeast is then fermented and it's reached its terminal gravity, you can pump the volume up, and it then eats the diacetyl that it produces. So it's like a natural process it's going to be in your beer, and if you don't do that rest, it can be an overpowering factor in your beer, and that is seen as a fault in most styles of beer.
Most styles. So where should I look for that style?
Jeez, off the top of my head, I'm a bit rusty on the judging, but what would it be in?
I'd say a stout, milk stout.
Okay, there we go.
I'd say
T-Bone with the info.
I'd say if I got a little butterscotch with my stout, I'd be like, yeah. Can I have some more? Don't diacetyl rest.
Please, sir.
I'm looking for a song to play as we take a quick little music break. I just scrolled right onto the Pussycat Dolls. Remember them? We won't play that. Let's play. This is a banger, but only because. Can I do this? You know what? It's my show.
I don't know what it is.
It's my show. I'm going to dedicate it to my wife and to all the ladies.
There we go.
So we'll
it's
see you guys.
Sexual healing.
Something like that. We'll see you guys in a few minutes. Cheers. Okay, we are back. Did you miss me? Of course you did. Hello and welcome back. It is Hashtag Beer Time. Welcome back. Of course, we've got Olaf from Franschhoek Beer Co. in the studio, and the always magical, sensational Murray Middleton. Just enjoying the background music, but we'll turn that down. So we've just tried the Franschhoek Beer Co. 3 Oaks Craft Lager, which was delicious. Magical. Let's move on to the next beer. Olaf, what should we have?
I think the Saison has next.
Saison.
So this beer, it's quite high in alcohol, 8.4%. So it's quite a heavy hitter. But what I love about it, it drinks like a 5%.
That's one of those beers that's going to totally
It's always good.
F you up later on, but let's give it a little...
That's definitely an alcoholic's catchphrase, that. It's an 8%er, but it drinks like a 5%er.
Especially on like a hot day or something. These are very, very easy to drink.
Very easy to... Jeez, T-Bone. I mean, leave some for us.
I'm a bit heavy-handed today.
Yeah, you are. But that's fine. We'll allow it.
Look, I hope you get some in it. Look, no, it's mostly fun. It's mostly fun.
Which, according to the BJCP style guidelines, it is, correct me if I'm wrong, it is the most high, it's
one of the highest
carbonated
correct.
beers.
You are correct. You are on form, young man.
Ding, ding, ding.
In fact, that's a great way to have a little ding, ding, ding. Speaking of being on form and having lots of foam, can we announce to the world your special news?
I don't know what foam has to do with that.
Foam celebration?
Yeah, I mean, they go hand in hand.
So, for all our thousands of female listeners and a small percentage of the male listeners, Trevor included, they'll be very sad or, happy to hear that you've just become engaged or you dropped the knee.
Yeah, I did. I did fairly recently.
That's big news, Mazza.
Oh, thanks, T-Bone.
You did good.
I'm definitely punching way above my weight, so I had to lock it down. I had to lock it down before she could get away.
I think it was Beyonce who said you need to put a ring on it.
Yeah.
I think it was...
I think I'm correct in saying is I did use it as hype music.
Okay.
And just to psych myself up, get myself in the right space. And then...
Did you play that?
No,
that would have been great.
Yeah.
Doing the dance as well.
Yeah, just listening to it, being like, this is the right decision.
Yes.
No, it was a fantastic day.
And that's why you couldn't come on Hop Tour, if I recall.
Yeah, it is. And it was very hard saying to you, like, I'm unavailable, I'm busy at that time. And you just kept sending me these rude messages. Like, what could be more important?
Yeah, surely.
So I was
surely there's nothing more important than the Hop Tour.
Yeah.
No,
so you did find out, and I did sort of balance myself out with not being such a dick and coming on Hop Tour for no reason.
No, but congratulations, that's good news.
Thank you. Thanks, T-Bone.
Welcome to the world of... treating another person like a goddess.
Yes.
I know my wife's listening.
She's like,
You are going to...
Yeah. She's like, can you pick up some groceries on the way home?
Yeah.
And
a case of wine.
Yeah. Yeah. And why is dinner not on the go? That 9-hour slow roast leg of lamb.
I made dinner last night. And I bought a case of wine last week, so she's sorted. She's sorted.
She's as good as this beer.
Let's get back to this beer. You're fantastic co-hosts. We went off course there.
Can I add in and say what I do really like?
Talk to me.
Is there are the small best before stickers on the bottles, which we always say a lot of people don't do it. Me included, I don't do it. Logistically, I'm a little bit in over my head to do it. But seeing it is always fantastic. You've got a much better idea about when is this the batch number?
Yeah, batch number. So all our beers have batch numbers on and best before dates. But you're right. It makes things logistically a lot more difficult.
And it's so nice seeing here batch number. This is number 16. Like those numbers are still nice and low.
Yeah.
And you can pretty much
nice.
You can understand it's got a hashtag 017, whatever it is, and then BB0518. That's very straightforward.
Yeah.
You get, I think, on the main street, the big guys, they put this massive code on, and you're trying to
decipher it.
And you're trying to struggle. You hold the bottle up to the light, and you trying to see what that is. It's a little bit smudged, but no, that's super straightforward. I'm trying to. So I know that this beer might even change as it warms up.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, this is unfiltered.
Okay.
So 2 of our beers are unfiltered. This one and the Weiss. Unfortunately, the Weiss is only available at our restaurant.
Okay.
But yeah, so this one is unfiltered, so we only get a 4 months shelf life on it, which isn't great. But the main thing is with this beer is you have to drink it as fresh as possible.
You don't. It's big, but you don't get that. Like,
It's not
you're
too
right.
hot.
It really does drink like.
It's almost like a fruit juice kind of. Because
Yeah.
I'm getting massive like a honey pawpaw melon fruit. Oh, it's very subtle hops.
It's very nice.
Now we dry hop this one as well, so that's not to style at all. But I think the hops that we use definitely complement the aromas from the Saison East.
It does have a nice spiciness as well.
I'm gonna put a bit of a contradiction here, but it's quite clean for this style of beer.
Yeah.
You know, I always found Saisons to be, not that they should be hazy and not milky. Milky's a bad word. That's more like a New England IPA. But this is incredibly clean.
Yeah,
And as you said, Mazza, like really fresh. So tell us a little bit more about, you mentioned the restaurants, the location, which I'm appalled to say that I haven't visited.
I also haven't. I need to.
It's quite a dry.
Whereabouts, well, I mean, I live about an hour away, which is no excuse. Whereabouts are you guys located in Franschhoek?
So as you come into Franschhoek, Le Mot's on your left-hand side, we directly opposite them.
The only thing, excuse me, that I find, like with destination breweries, is it's fantastic to go out and spend the day there, but then someone's got to drive home, and I never know what to do with that. You know, that's a big. I mean, I need to just pull finger and do more of it, but unless there's someone driving, you have to stay the night there, which is also not the end of the world.
I've proposed this idea to some other breweries, ones that aren't in town, to have some form of bus service, and that might be a long stretch, or something which is not maybe feasible. But I think if as the interest grows, we might start seeing it like a shuttle running back and forth into different parts of.
But it's nice, like
the brewery scene
in Franschhoek. There's such a big, like it's always full. When I say full, I mean there's always people visiting it. It's like it's such an amazing place that you don't have to go. You don't have to expect a large amount of locals, or you don't have to rely on a large amount of locals. I think that makes. I don't know.
Yeah, you make perfect sense. Everything on hashtag Bedtime makes perfect sense.
Even when it doesn't.
Even when it doesn't. But from what I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if my geography is a bit off. Aren't you right next to the new brewery opening up there?
Hey Joe.
Hey Joe, yeah.
So they're in the process, they're busy building at the moment.
Okay.
But I think in the next 6-7 months they should be.
So I mean, how many breweries are now in Franschhoek? After Hey Joe,
we've got Hey Joe, then it's Tuk Tuk as well. That's in town.
Sure.
And then Nick and Simondia, Soul Barrel. But that's
What happened to that? What happened to that Elephant brewery?
Elephant and Barrel.
No, it was a.
I know there used to be one at Udonna as well.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, that was a while back.
Not anymore.
No.
Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3. You've got 4 breweries, which let's just not trying to float anyone's boats. Maybe I am, but that's 4 top quality breweries. In a very close proximity. So, no offense to anyone else who's not in that proximity, but that's a good sign for craft beer. That people are moving towards that in a wine region, in a wine area, which is predominantly wine drinkers. So you can see that the wine drinker is learning to appreciate beer.
I mean, Franschhoek is known for its food and wine. I don't see why not for beer. And for example, at our restaurant, Nick, our chef, he does amazing food pairing with our beer as well, which is also quite interesting. So each beer isn't paired with a very specific dish that he creates. So I think it's
heavens.
yeah.
Now I need to make a little trip. Mazza, we need to...
Yeah, on the hashtag beer time budget as part of the sponsorship from Banana Jam.
Okay. Let's do that. I'll put something together, and then whoever is listening and wants to join us for a hashtag beer time Franschhoek beer tour, let's do it. I'll organize. And then we can get we'll have to get some free pints and stuff like that at different breweries that we visit.
Yeah.
Wish I could
Yeah.
sort something out.
Yes. Back to this beer. Yeah, this is fantastic. And I can't, I'm going to repeat myself, I can't believe it's 8%.
I mean, when we were in the research and development phase with this beer, I mean, this was one of the first beers we decided on. We were thinking of maybe bringing down the alcohol a little bit, but I think,
So what was your final decision on keeping it at 8%?
we just loved the beer the way it was. It's like I brewed it, I think, once or twice, and from the first time we all just decided.
Were you aiming for 8%? Silly
I
question.
don't remember.
It does. I mean, we've alluded to the fact that it's a Belgian style saison,
Okay.
so I think it does make it more acceptable. Like, it's not that far-fetched that it should be that
Sure.
big.
Yeah, you visited the land of beer,
Yeah.
milk and honey, and you said that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but the lowest, you just wanted a normal light session beer, but you can only find 8% beers.
Yeah. I asked for a light beer to start with because
Sure.
I knew my session was going to be a while.
Mm-hmm.
And the female bartender handed me a 9%. Yeah. So I accepted it.
And you can't remember a single thing.
No, it was special. There's a lot of...
Have you been to Temple Bar in Ireland, in Dublin?
No, I've never been to Ireland.
You've never been to Ireland?
No.
It just reminds me of a story that I walked into one of the... Temple Bar is it's like a long street. It's a section of pubs. And I walked into this one pub. Now I'm 19. I know nothing about beer. All I know is SAB lagers, and I've heard of this Guinness thing.
Yeah.
So I walk into this pub, and they have this, I assume, which was homebrewed beer. And they had this 8% stout. And I'm, 19. I'm like, oh, yay.
Huge.
Yeah, let me have one of those. Oh, it was terrible. I couldn't.
Probably drink it
I
now
couldn't
and
finish
find
it.
it was very good.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I'm hoping my palate has matured since then. But yeah, I just thought I'd just throw that story. We talk about these kind of things on hashtag.
Yeah. I was hoping you would tell that story, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wish there was a way I could just wrap it up. I just drank hundreds of Guinnesses when I was there.
Yeah, she's...
But when you're a student, when you're young, that's all just beer, and then we ordered plates of chips.
But like, the Guinness is a beer you can just smash all day. It really is a very...
it's one of the lowest calorie beers to
There's
drink.
more calories in a equivalent-sized glass of orange juice than there is in a Guinness.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's very light-bodied. Everyone says, oh, it's like eating a loaf of bread. But if you explain the beer-making process... You explain it's one of those huge beer mats that because it's dark, it's heavy. Yes, it can be, but a light-colored beer can also be very heavy, like this.
Exactly. Did you smash some Guinness on St. Paddy's Day? What's the date now? It was last Saturday.
I think it was the carnival was happening outside my like in the Somerset Road there, outside my apartment, and I was like, if I'm going to go anywhere, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Big struggle. And the closest place was Vasco's that serves Guinness. And I was like, that place is going to be heaving. Yeah, it would have been trampled to death probably.
I know that, Vasco's and just around the corner of Fireman's, they're the one of the few places that have Guinness on tap.
Yeah.
But I must have gone to 6 different bottle stores.
Couldn't find
any Guinness. Bleak.
that normally had because it was sold out, or that just didn't have?
So a little birdie told me, and I listened to a lot of birdies in the beer scene, but a little beer birdie told me that some stock didn't arrive, or we just didn't get any beer. So, very sad. But I made up for it. I went to Beer House next week, and they had it on tap, so I clapped some. Are you answering a phone call?
No, I'm listening to a voice note.
Okay, so this is not taking a...
I'm multitasking, but you never sleep.
Never sleep, always hustling.
It's actually Morne.
Is he? What does he want?
Yeah.
Morne, last week's guest on...
How's it, Paul?
Hashtag Beer Time. How's it, Paul?
Nailed it.
So, to wrap up on this beer, it's flippin' lekker, and you can actually see if you have... Sure. We just had a sip now. If you have a full one and you're sitting in the sun, try and stand up, you're gonna stand up slowly. But this is delicious. I very much like this one. So
yeah,
I think let's go on to our next beer. We won't play a song. We'll play a song after the next little break. What beer should we have?
So I think the next one is...
What did you just say?
What beer should we have?
Oh.
What beer? What did you think I said?
No, I thought you said, what the fuck beer should we have?
Well, that's... Maybe it's the 8% kicking in.
No.
Should we have this one?
Yeah, the Liberty Pale Ale.
Liberty Pale Ale. Let's crack open. Now this is great. See, this show comes full circle so many times. Why did you call it an American Pale Ale?
I listened to it last time.
Well, basically, it's...
Let me give you a quick recap of why I asked that question. We had Gary from Citizen 2 weeks ago, and he called his beer, when he first brought out Citizen, it was an American Amber Ale.
Yeah.
We're talking 5 years ago.
No, it's more than that.
More than that. 2010,
It's 8 years ago.
Thank you very much. That is 8 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you brought it out, bar owners refused to take it because it was called an American Amber Ale. Bar owners said, no, my customers aren't going to drink that because it's called an American. They just thought American beer. So, I love this. Let's talk about this. Why have you guys called your pale ale an American pale ale?
Well, basically, it comes down to the hops that we use for this one. So it's two American hop varieties, Amarillo and Mosaic. So basically, that's why we decided to go the American Pale Ale.
So you guys have called it according to the style, because it's, when you think of pale ale, it's either going to be generally speaking, it's either going to be an American pale ale or a British pale ale, or it could be a South African or New Zealand pale ale, Australian pale ale.
No, but this one's also according to the BJCP. It's also,
and according, like you said, according to the hops. So I find that, you've got two different eras of bringing out a beer, and I'd imagine that this beer sells well. It does well. It's a good beer. I just find it interesting how the consumer, and I have to be careful how I say this. The consumer is uneducated until they are exposed enough.
But remember, that was a long time ago. I reckon if you put on now American business. Pale Ale, I don't think it would give the pushback.
Sure, I think people
that it did.
People would read American Pale Ale as a whole, whereas I think previously they would just see American and be very anti, and just think, oh, this is
beer, just like the wine industry, is also very perception driven.
Yeah. They're actually going through the BJCP guidelines here. There's American Pale Ale. Yeah. There's no English Pale Ale in here, and Belgian Pale Ale. Those are the only two.
Isn't there a main category for English Pale Ale, and for it's like the bitters and
I think that was for the previous.
Yeah, maybe in the 2008, but
because I also remember there being a lot more pale ales.
Yeah, there's an English IPA, but no English Pale Ale. But anyway, it comes back to the point of maybe the fact that it said American. It's a little bit of a turn off for people a while ago, but now also just the perception of Belgian Pale Ale is you think like, oh, those folks know about beer. Maybe that's something I should try. You don't have this huge anti-American viewpoint on it. I don't know. It would be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't think you'd have as much issue coming out with something labeled as an American Pale Ale now. I think you have far more knowledge on it. And it goes back to what I said so many months ago, that the guys that started the craft beer revolution and the movement, the Jack Black, Citizen, those guys have been around for a long time. They put in some flipping hard yards to be able to convert people. And even now, coming as a brand, people now know craft beer.
Yeah.
But me going to them saying, try Metal Lane, they're like, oh, I haven't heard of Metal Lane, but I've heard of craft beer. So they just stick with the craft beer that they know. So at least you're not fighting the craft beer is what the hell is that? You're now just fighting what is Metal Lane, and that's a fight that you have to carry on just fighting until it's, Metal Lane. You know what I mean?
I had a good friend this weekend say to me, well, on the subject of craft beer, and I try and avoid it every show, but he said two things to me. He said, no, I'm not going to drink, not going to drink, but I think he spoke about, I think Devil's Peak and CBC and Jack Black. He says, no, they're not really craft anymore. They're too big. I'm not going to drink them. They're not crafty enough. I was like, sure, that's quite a debate to start, but I'll let him have that. And then he said, no, I don't really like drinking craft beer because it leaves me with a sore stomach the next day. So I was like, no, I don't know. Maybe you're probably mixing it with a few other things.
Yeah.
Having a few whiskeys.
Yeah, that like tandoori chicken that you had was like also very spicy.
Yes. That 2 a.m.
I get that. I get that as well. There's only so much you can do to that, but it's all part of it's the perception.
It's a process. Time will heal it.
The mental effect that people have on the first time. Okay, this is ages ago when Jack Black was like fairly new. I had a friend who used to tell me that Jack Blacks were like sleeping pills. He was like, I have a Jack Black and I'm sleepy. That's what he felt. He was like, it's literally got something in it that makes me sleepy. And he's like, I don't get it with any other beer. And that's the barriers to coming up against one of the biggest, most well-known, companies in the world. SAB have been just producing, and they've been around for a long time. If SAB started with Castle now, and they hadn't been around, and craft beer had been around, or whatever, or Bud had been around, everyone would be like, if they didn't have the budgets and they were doing it on the same sort of scale that we're doing it on, or craft, everyone would be like, what is this shit?
Yeah.
Even though it's...
No disrespect.
No disrespect. Like, I'll smash a couple of Castles, but like, that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with people who say, I'll never ever drink anything other than Windhoek. And if you pour them a Castle in a Windhoek glass, they're none the wiser.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very tough, the perception.
That's why we're on a mission here at Hashtag Beer Time. Change people's perception.
Also in our tasting room, when we deal with, every now and then I'll chat to some people and clients and customers and stuff like that. And it's very interesting that people are always so amazed how something like a lager is a beer, obviously, and then the stout is also a beer, but same ingredients, but something that's worlds apart.
Yeah.
In terms of taste and flavor and all of that. I think lots of people they think between different beers as being these small subtle differences, like the difference between a Castle and a Black Label.
Yeah.
It isn't massive. If you compare it between a lager and a stout, for example.
But I on that note, Maza, I like how there's a revolution happening, and we're starting to see people being educated. You look at the wine scene, you look at Franschhoek, it's the creme de la creme of the wine scene in South Africa. No offense to Paul or Stellenbosch. I think Stellenbosch has the biggest.
I think they're both saying offense taken.
Offense taken. No, but Franschhoek is kind of the, as Olaf said, the food and wine capital of South Africa. And there's a history with wine, with how it's poured, decanted, served, glasses
Paired.
presented at the table when a waiter brings it to you.
The type of
There are
glass.
all these things that have been distilled into South Africans, and it's just it's natural, it's normal. So I think the beer scene is happening. It's going to happen that way. And I love that there are 4 new breweries now. One of them being Franschhoek Brewing Co. in the Franschhoek wine region. So I think it's that tiresome, repetitive education that folks like us three do and speak to people about. And it's also a good feeling when you say to someone who doesn't know anything about beer, I know this is a bit. Yeah. This saison that you're drinking, this fruity, floral, carbonated, alcoholic beverage is actually a bit. And it's not that different from a lager or in terms of ingredients. That wow moment, we need more of that. And for the people listening who also like educating people and telling people about what beer is, please keep doing it. You're doing a good job.
Keep fighting the good fights.
One day I invite you to my mansion in Franschhoek.
We'll be eating a lot of food and drinking a lot of wine and beer.
I mean, it's also amazing if you think about, when craft beer kind of really started in South Africa. It was, 6-7 years ago, maybe?
10 years ago, Jack Black.
Yeah. But I mean, if you think about that, it's not just how far, breweries have come and things like that, but how far consumers also come.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a few years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago, IPAs, majority of people didn't know what an IPA was.
It's not just lagers this time.
Yeah.
But it's very true. It's just to see the progression, and I think sometimes we get a little bit stuck on still being behind, but we should look at how far we have come. Yeah. But T-Bone, what I was going to say as well, and it ties in exactly with what you said, is a great comparison that I think often brings people down to like an understandable level is wine. So you say, there's ales and there's lagers, just like there's red and there's white. And you can break it down very easily, and people say, oh, well, the market's so saturated, and there's like I walk into a bottle store and there's like a whole fridge of different beers. And then you say, well, what about all the different wines that you see? Oh, yeah, no, there's like 3 rows of wines. There's just wine everywhere. You can take all the hardtack out of there.
How do you pick your wine?
Yeah, so I'll get to that. But as soon as you break it down for someone who says those things and you compare it to a wine, it all becomes very manageable. And it also goes back to what I said ages ago about when you said, yeah, we serve the wine in a specific way and we decant it and we do this and we do that. It's the same as when I was in Belgium. They have got the same culture. It's the right glassware. It's at the right temperature.
If you don't put it in the right glass.
Yeah, they'll castrate you. Yeah. If you don't have balls, you've probably been castrated because you poured it in the wrong glass already. So, yeah, it's stuff like that. It's we have a very strong wine culture, and it shouldn't be hard to sort of expand that to the beer side of things, but also the type of culture that we can get here, it should come. Yeah. It should come, but it will take time, and as you say, it's the hard fight. But onto the wine, how I pick my wine.
How'd you pick your wine?
So, this is coming from, it's exactly like I would say a semi-educated beer drinker.
Nothing wrong with semi-educated.
No, I mean, I would class myself in a very educated beer drinker, so I know what I'm choosing from. But when I go into wine, I feel like someone who's fairly uneducated.
It's tuned to the wine world.
Semi-educated.
Do you have any formal wine training? Olaf, do you have any formal wine training?
Well, I did my master's in wine biotechnology.
So yes.
Answer the question. We're going to move over to
I haven't. I've done some like tasting. Like not a Cicerone or anything like that, but I've done
attendance certificates.
Yeah, but like on a light level.
Sure. But how do you pick your wine?
So I pick my wine based on, it depends where I am and what it's going for. I prefer, and I don't know whether it's from beer, because I only really started getting into wine once I had developed my palate for beer. But I prefer the more when it comes to white wines. It's like anything with beer. I don't have a specific. I'll pick my beer for the time that I feel like having it.
Sure.
So I'll maybe feel like a saison on a really hot day, or like a crisp, clean lager for a hot day, and maybe something more full body for this, or whatever. My wine's fairly similar, and I know what I feel like at that time. So if I want like a really crisp wine, I'll go for, I don't know, like a Chenin or something like that. But if I want something nice and full bodied, I'll go for a Chardonnay with like maybe even like a wooded Chardonnay and go at something. I'm a big fan of it. And I think I prefer those big, fuller beers when it's not that hot, or when you're not looking for something so crisp, because I enjoy beer with like character. So I think it follows through to the wine.
And so any other factors, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, you are listening to Hashtag Beer Time.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
We're talking about wine, just to see if there are any similarities.
They 100%.
Do you look at the label?
Yeah. So I definitely look at awards. I look at prices. I look at awards. And we are in the like, also those websites like Get Wine and I don't know, what are the other ones? Like, all of those things, they've got recommendations. And a lot of the time, they're pushing maybe badly labeled wine or whatever that still won awards, and they sell it for like great prices.
Sure.
And that opens your eyes to saying, oh, maybe like the editor or whoever's recommended this wine, and it falls in under this category and whatever, and it's got this price, and you start realizing that, you can get good wine for like 300 Rand a bottle,
sure,
but you don't have to pay 300 Rand a bottle. You can get flipping good wine for really affordable. Really affordable prices. And it also, I think it ties into looking at how you can get some beer. And some beer is made by incredible breweries, and it doesn't have to be super expensive.
So that's not a bad place to aim for in terms of a level, in terms of where the wine is now. I mean, can you imagine if
I think where
people
exactly
walked
the states are.
But I don't think we just there. We would get on our way towards that. But can you imagine someone walking into a bottle shop and selecting their beer based on the factors that I would choose wine, and you and I would choose wine, whether it's got a gold sticker, whether it's a label, with the farm it's from, what style it is.
People are far more likely to try different wines than there are different beers. They were like, that's the beer I drink. That's it. Wine, like, I haven't had that one, but like, I'll take that. I'll try that one. And
that's
then
from
they're like,
never had that. Let me have that.
It doesn't happen with beer, and it needs to.
But it will happen.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yes, over to you, please. We need you to answer those questions.
It makes a lot of sense, I don't know, looking for a better word, kind of piggybacking off the wine industry, because we already have all this wine culture in South Africa, and the thing is also with craft beer is, we're not necessarily trying to convert, people that prefer their macro breweries, their SAB and so on. We're not exactly trying to convert them into craft beer drinkers, but, more the wine drinker that we're trying to convert into
100%
beer drinker.
Yeah, and also not necessarily convert them, but to include expose them to it. I went to a wedding this weekend, and there was craft beer, and the guy started chatting to me, and he said, he was drinking, and he said, normally I've gone over to wine from like after 2 or 3 beers, craft beers, and he's quite a well-traveled guy, so he drinks beer from the States quite often, and he said, like, I'm just enjoying it, so I'm like 5 or 6 beers down, and I haven't even gone into wine yet, and he is a big wine fan. So it's nice that you can see those, feels like, as you say, when you converted, you feel like you've done something in, like, just the fact that there's one more drinker who's, like, I don't want to say pushing it a little bit further, but who's enjoying it and appreciating it a bit more. And that's nice. It's like every single person, not converted, but every person included is helping.
We're getting more pages with more people on it. Olaf, how do you select your wine? Do you drink wine?
No, I do drink. I mean, my whole kind of career started off in wine. I never actually made wine commercially, but it did kind of start off there.
Where did you train, by the way?
I did my like I said, I did my master's in wine biotechnology, so at the University of Stellenbosch. It was during that time that I got exposed to beer brewing and things like that. So that at the time we had a small test brewery at the process engineering department, and we were quite fortunate.
And you competed in the InterVarsity Champs.
Yeah, I did that as well. We were quite fortunate in that we were all postgrads, so we had plenty of time on our hands. So literally every Friday we would brew beer.
Awesome.
And that was one of the basically where I discovered my passion for brewing and realized this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Awesome.
And
in terms of buying wine, what do you look at?
Well, that's really it comes down to a combination of factors. But I think at the end of the day, it really does, for me, it does come down to what I feel like as well, taste-wise and things like that.
So just for me to answer that question, I went in last week to a liquor store and I actually bought my wife 6 bottles. Why? Because I went on a boys' fishing trip weekend. So I thought, no, I needed to soften the blow by giving her a nice gift. Here's a mixed case of wine. And when I selected the wines, I looked at 3 bottom of the line, like entry levels. We're talking $40 to $50 kind of wines. And then the other 3, I chose wines with golden stickers, or, as you said, platters, or just recommendations. But isn't it amazing how, I'm speaking in general now, but isn't it amazing how the consumer automatically trusts that because there's a sticker on there, now, cool, that someone has said, cool, that's 2 thumbs ups.
Unless it has way too many stickers, then you start wondering, like, why are they trying to push this so hard?
But people do gravitate towards that. So it's a great way to segue. But before we segue, I thought I'd just get that out. But before we segue, we're going to play a little song, take a little break, because I know you people need to top up your glasses. We need to top up our glasses. So we'll see you in... Play 1 song or 2 songs, Mazen? Let's see how we feel. We'll crack on. We'll get the show started. We'll get the music, the beats going, and we'll see you guys in a little bit. Ciao. You are listening to #Beer Time on Two Oceans Vibe. Yes, it is a beer show, believe it or not. We have been talking about wine for the last... God knows how long, 20 minutes, half an hour. We apologize if that offended you, but it's all in the name of beer. So you shouldn't be upset about that. Right. Franschhoek Beer Co. is in the studio. Olaf, are you having a good time?
Yeah.
Murray, are you having a good time?
I'm having the best time.
You always have the best time. Right. Let's move on. We've got 2 more beers left in the satchel. What beer should we have next?
So I think the next one is the OPA, Orange Pale Ale. So this one is a bit of a interesting one.
There's been a lot of debates.
It's pretty much like I would classify it almost like, it doesn't taste like Marmite, but it's you either love Marmite or hate Marmite. This beer is very similar. So you either love it or hate it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like it when people
catering to a specific market. Doesn't matter about everyone else.
Yeah.
There's going to be a market that likes it.
I mean, that is why we actually call it an OPA. Is when we started off with the research and development, all we knew is we wanted a beer and somehow involve orange taste, orange flavors, or something
zest
orange in it. So we started experimenting with orange rind, various types of orange rind. And we started off with something like a pale ale, and every time we'd brew it, we'd taste it, and then we'd make modifications. We kept on upping the alcohol, upping the bitterness, till we ended up with a pale ale that was 7.4% in alcohol and 75 IBUs. So not exactly a pale ale.
It's controversial when it comes to style guidelines,
Yeah.
but I know what you mean. If it just works and it works at that, then it's great.
And it's not an IPA because it's not as heavily hopped as an IPA would be. We really want the orange to come out quite a bit in this beer.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mention anything about being an IPA. It's
Well, we like to call it a OPA,
Yeah.
Orange Pale Ale.
because I know that some of the beer fans on the Tasting League, that's the League of Beers Tasting League, have they knew I was going to have you on the show, so they wanted to know, what do you call it? I mean, what category would you enter it under in a let's say if you had to potentially enter it into a BJCP competition?
Well, every time I enter it, it's always something different because it doesn't have a style. Last time I entered it under a speciality IPA, but yeah,
It's so tricky because it's not that, because as a speciality IPA you're expecting like something like very different.
Yeah, and it's not a pale ale either.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I really don't know what to classify it under.
And how are you adding the is it orange peel?
Yeah. So we use two different varieties that we add at various times. We towards the end of the boil we add a bit, and then also when we dry hop it. So this is also dry hop with a little bit of Citra, but mostly orange rind as well.
And are you getting the orange rind, or is it like, are you doing that process, or is it the, because I know you get bitter and sweet orange peel.
Yeah.
So are you using a specific one?
We're using a combination of the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could we, sorry to interrupt, can we call this an Imperial Pale Ale? Not an Indian Pale Ale, but an Imperial Pale Ale.
So an IPA?
No, a different, an IPA.
Yeah.
Because Imperial,
I do, I'm joking, I know where you're coming from with that.
correct me if I'm wrong, Imperial denotes high alcohol and increased bitterness. Or just higher alcohol. No, it's just higher alcohol.
Well, they normally work hand in hand.
Yeah, because the Russian Imperial Stouts is a stout which is high in alcohol.
It's all very technical because I don't think there's a specific...
How would an Imperial Pale Ale then differ from an IPA?
So
that's true.
So an India Pale Ale, and I know that there's an Indian Pale Ale from Brewdog, but an India Pale Ale is your common IPA. It's either the British or the American version.
Yeah.
And that has its specific guidelines. Whereas, and I'm
But if you are ramping it up,
pretty sure, if I've seen this before, brewers calling their Pale Ales, if they're making a stronger alcohol version, calling it an Imperial Pale Ale.
but what Olaf is saying is, if it's an Imperial Pale Ale,
Yes.
the chances of it fitting into the IPA category are basically like, it should fit into, because the IPA is higher hopped, more alcohol, so the IBUs are higher and the percent can be higher.
Yes, but
So
when drinking this, why I wouldn't classify this as a traditional IPA, and why, if someone said this is an Imperial Pale Ale,
You understand it better.
the main factor is that there's not that hop explosion that you get from a typical IPA.
Yeah.
And just looking at the label, 7.4%, okay, it's got an added alcohol. It does, the taste is still very...
It's all very...
sessionable. It's Pale Ale,
but it's all very
there's a
confusing.
higher alcohol. So
it's exactly what we said when Greg Casey was on the show, saying, what's the difference
Greg
between...
Casey from Banana Jam.
Yeah, Pisang Joel.
Pisang Joel.
What's the difference between a Pale Ale and a Session IPA? Imperial Pale Ale is an IPA, and a Session Pale Ale is Session IPA is a Pale Ale.
Just say that again. I think a lot of people's eyes just roll back into their head.
They started fitting.
Yeah, frothing.
So a ramped up version of a Pale Ale,
yes,
i.e. Jeez, now this is getting confusing now. i.e. IPA. Imperial Pale Ale. What? Like, the guidelines it's impossible to say this is a ramped up version of a Pale Ale, which is an IPA. It's the same thing. And because you can get IPAs that aren't as hop forward or that are like this, but I know what Olaf is saying, it's not an IPA. And a session IPA that has like slightly pulled back versions of bitterness and body and alcohol
To me,
aren't pale ales.
To me, a session IPA is less alcohol. You can have more of it. But if you call your beer an IPA, it needs to have that hop explosion when you smell it. It needs to have that hit of whatever hop you're using.
But this has got that hit of not necessarily like that hop, but it's got a very aromatic, like that orangey. It does have a nice, like orange maltiness to it.
I'm going to call it because
This is huge.
this is huge. I'm going to call it mainly because it's my show. No, I'm
We're
going to
also
call
going to go
it.
home and be like, that is such a dick.
He's such a wally. Guys, I never want to go back. I don't know. If anyone's listening, tell me what you think. If you've had the OPA, should it stay OPA? Should it just be pale ale? Should it be an imperial? I think what I'm looking for is, should it
If
be
you
called
had
an
to
imperial?
enter it, what would it be?
And-
OPA as a name.
But
is perfect.
unfortunately,
Say that.
there's no imperial pale ale section.
Yeah.
But for me, I think if you had to explain to someone, oh, this is an imperial version. Hey, Troy, what's imperial? Okay, it's got a little bit more alcohol. Is that a fair...
And a bit more hops. So what? So
No,
it's
no,
an IPA.
Okay.
But
so,
yeah, it's one of those things. My dad and I have these like discussions or arguments or debates where I say what I think,
how is the old man?
and then
Listening?
he says what he thinks,
Yeah.
and we don't change, and we just keep doing. My brother normally sits there just going like, "You guys are so dumb." We just keep going.
Just both
It doesn't get heated or anything, but I'm like, "But Dad, you're not listening to me." And he's like, "But Muzz, you're not listening to me," and we just keep going.
And
I think that's what we've just done now.
The thing is also,
Except
I'm right.
I'm right.
it's also you have to classify every beer. I mean, it's obviously I do it as well.
You
don't,
should have just called this a beer. This has just been done with it.
No, can you imagine? But also the cool thing about it is it's such a talking point, and that's so nice.
Yeah.
Where the beer is great.
Yeah.
It's something like normally it's quite hard for Troy and I to generate conversation between each other. So like this is perfect.
It's pretty dull in the studio most of the
I
time.
can honestly say this isn't a very fun beer to brew.
Really, just admin.
No, it's the
Laborious tasks.
the orange rind. It gets stuck everywhere.
I can imagine it gets sticky, or it just sticks,
everywhere. Like
clings to everything.
In your filters and everything. So it's not a fun, especially when you cold crash it, because you add it directly to the fermenter. Don't use hot bags or anything like that. So add it directly to the fermenter, and then you cold crash it. All of it settles down at the bottom, and you open it up, and it's like nothing's coming out.
The head pressure. You put some head pressure on, and that's
all of a sudden
happened.
you're covered in orange rind and yeast.
I don't think there's a brewer out there that it hasn't happened to.
Where it's
Just
just
getting like
exploded.
where you like nothing's coming out. Put some head pressure on it. Still nothing's coming out. Like it's like leaning down the barrel of a gun. You've got like all this beer. You like open it and you look into the bowl.
To start the morning.
Gushing out
I've done
into
it.
your
I've
eye.
definitely done it. I know. I've seen. I know it's happened to quite a few people.
Well, despite what we've just chatted about for the last 300 hours, this is a delicious beer.
Yeah,
It's
it
a delicious
really
beer.
is. I'm
At
a
the
big
end of the
fan it.
day, it's delicious.
This beer
You
can
know,
also smoke you because it
Moving on
is sessionable as
7.4,
well.
moving from the saison to this, it's gonna
And also
slow
another
any
thing-
DJs.
Another thing that makes this beer a
talking.
bit more interesting is because we add the orange rind to it, we actually add the pith as well, which gives it a bit of astringency. So you don't have that typical hop bitterness.
Yeah.
You have that slight bit of astringency as well, which makes things a bit more interesting on that side as well.
I like it. And I also like the fact that, as you said, it's one of those you either love it or hate it type beers. And, excuse me, I think it's overplayed in the marketing of craft beer. The whole like fuck society, we do what we like. But I think it's cool that you're doing it for that exact reason. I don't know how else to word it, but you are happy with it as a beer, and you know that it's a good beer, and you know that it's something different, and it's not for everyone, but like it's still great, and we're still going to do it, and I think that's really cool. What do you think, Troy?
I'm just looking forward to visiting. I cannot believe that I haven't visited yet. Speaking of visiting places, let's segue to upcoming events. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure if you are in the beer scene or love beer or know anything about beer, you will know that we've got a busy month coming up. We've just had the Southeaster Summerfest, which was on Sunday, which was great. I stopped by just a little bit, just to check what was going on. Congratulations to Lucy and the team. Lucy stepping down as president after 2 glorious years and handing the reins over to a new committee. So that's the homebrewer side of things. If you ever want to get involved in homebrewing, it's awesome, and there's a club for that, and it's free to join. I encourage you to do that. Always nothing wrong with drinking free beer. And so moving on to the different events that are happening in the next few weeks. Obviously, with Easter, Maza, you've expressed your disinterest in running the 2 Oceans, or you just haven't entered.
You just haven't entered.
You have done it before, hey?
Yeah, I've done
you
it.
Smashed it.
I've done it.
So I'm running this weekend, just the 21, which will be fun with the missus.
It's a tough 21 course.
You can't get a PB. If you get a PB, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You can't run a fast race there because it takes you 5 minutes just to get out of the starting blocks.
Yeah.
What I find. My first K was like 8 minutes. Okay. Anyway.
It's great for you.
Thank you very much. So, speaking of events, I'm sure you've heard it many times on the show, but we've got the Fools and Fans Beer Festival in Greyton in 2 weeks' time. That's on the, look at me, 7th, Saturday the 7th in Greyton. And you know I can tell you what's awesome is that last year, the pre-event ticket sales online was dismal last year. It was like scary. But we actually ended up having a good amount of people buying on the day. I'm so stoked to say that our tickets this year, pre-sales, are a lot more reassuring.
Welcome to Cape Town, eh?
Makes you so just happy that people are actually starting to wake up. But yeah, it is a Cape Town thing where people buy tickets on the day.
A lot of the time they just wait for something better to come up.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, this is actually quite cool. On the day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So if you haven't got your tickets yet, I encourage you to buy them. And yesterday we made an announcement at For Fools and Fans Beer Festival that there's going to be a special food and beer pairing hosted by Greg and Carl from Beer Country. And they're going to have a whirlwind of a year because I think they're about to launch their cookbook, and they are going to be doing a food and beer pairing, which you need to buy a separate ticket for. So make sure you go onto Quicket and get that ticket. Because there's only going to be X amount of tickets left.
And I can say any food and beer pairing I've been to done by them has been phenomenal.
I know. I'm going to have to book my tickets, book my seats at that event. So that's the Fools and Fans Beer Festival on the 7th of April. Make sure you get your tickets or come visit us on the day. The following week, there are 2 festivals, believe it or not. There's the Stellenbosch Beer Festival, 14th of April, Saturday the 14th of April, where Franschhoek Beer Co. will be. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That is correct. And then on the same afternoon, I suppose, it's the Cask Ale Festival. It's the old Springbok Pub station. What is it called now?
It's
Station
called the Shackleton's Brewing Company. I don't know what is it not still operating in Springboks?
Maybe it is still. So
I think
it's just that old train behind SAB Newlands.
They used to have giant night there.
Where Shackleton's Brewing Company is.
Yeah.
And we're actually going to have Mr. Shackleton himself on the show.
Good old Steve.
A week before. So that'll be great. And so you got sport for choice. I might need to do a little bit of a bus mission.
I think you should,
hire a little bus, go visit everyone.
I think you should.
So that's the 14th of April. 14th of April. And Mazza, you've told me there's another event on the end of the month.
No, I think it was 20th.
Tap Takeover. When is that?
What did I say?
29th.
29th. I said 28th of April.
So it's the end of April. And that's at CBC. It's Tap Takeover. That hasn't been confirmed yet.
I don't know where you are.
I'm just kind of spitballing it. But there is another Tap Takeover happening, which is really exciting.
I'm sure there is.
That's my announcements done. Now we can move forward. Final beer.
Yeah, so the last one, that is our stout.
Award-winning
stout. So, big, heavy stout. But obviously still light and easy drinking at the same time. So lots of dark malts. Lots of roasted aromas. So your coffee, dark chocolate, things like that.
Very exciting.
Can I make a quick constructive criticism?
No.
You've got some pretty cool names for all the bottles. This one is called The Stouts, and it's Stouts. So maybe, I don't know, call it Olaf's Brews. I don't know. Just an observation.
That was quite interesting with this beer. But a year and a half ago, we went to the States on like a mini beer tour. Starting off in Florida and ending up in Vermont.
What expenses paid by Friendship? Put a competition together.
I was actually, during that time, we went to a brewery called, in Florida, in the middle of Florida, Cigar City Brewery.
Yes,
Yeah, Cigar City Brewery.
Yeah.
And they're known for making amazing stouts. And it's quite interesting because they're in the middle of Florida. Florida is even hotter and, more uncomfortable than, when it gets really hot here.
The place where they support the Sharks.
Yeah.
The place we don't speak of.
So it's interesting that this brewery is in such a hot climate that they make such amazing stouts. And that kind of gave us, the courage to, make a big heavy stout as well.
It's got quite a
we
initial smokiness.
We see it as very, very seasonal. I think I brewed this batch once.
What's that alcohol in, Mazza?
It is 7.3. But it's, I don't know, I've looked at the batch numbers on all of the beers. And I don't know whether I'm correct in saying that should give me an indication of, what are bigger movers than others.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how... I don't know how long they're stored for, whatever. But this is the highest batch number out of everything that we've had.
Which was the first beer that you launched?
The first one, that was the Saison.
Saison, okay.
It's damn delicious.
I'm still stuffing mine.
Yeah, this one actually recently made now. So just made a single batch of it. So I thought we were going to get through summer without brewing it again.
And let's talk about those wonderful stickers on the top there. You've got a silver and a gold sticker.
Yeah.
What's that was for. I can't see, but that's San.
Yeah.
The beer trophy.
Can I ask a question? With the stickers that you've got on here, I'm not sure about what or how it all works in terms of. Well, I do know the judging and how to judge and all of that. Do you, having the 2016 and 2017 sticker on here, do you not think people could see a negative connotation on it?
Yeah.
I think, for me, I don't look at it and think, it's digressed. But I think, what consumers are like. I don't know whether it would play in their mind or they think that, or whether they would just see two stickers and be like, it's going to be good.
I think for me and you, we'd probably pick that up, but the average...
They just see two and they're like, cool.
it's the same when you pick wine as well. It's full of gold and silver. Do you really sit there with the timeline going okay, good this year, look bad this year,
Yeah.
and all of that. So yeah, we decided to go ahead and just put both on.
For me, it doesn't make a difference
No,
in terms of seeing.
Yeah, it is interesting. Going back to the wine thing, like when people select a wine, if I see a bottle with one gold star and one silver star, I'll still be like, cool. There are two awards there, 2 years in a row, whatever. If there's a date, cool. This must be good. I don't.
But what if it's going gold 2016, silver 2017?
I
Does that perception, do you not?
So that is minuscule. That's tiny. We would look at that. The beer nerds would look at that, but
I wouldn't look at it saying it's gone backwards.
no, not at all. I'd say it's placed. It's 2 years in a row. It's placed.
It's consistently
It's placed
yeah.
2 years in a row.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
And for good reason. It's a fantastic beer.
What's without getting too carried away with what style it is, but what would you enter this under, BJCP?
this one,
It's oatmeal almost. It's got a bit of thickness.
foreign export style.
Really, eh?
Yeah. I mean, there is oats in it.
Mhm.
There is lactose in it as well. But yeah,
It's a beautiful colour as well.
It's
almost
incredibly
like red.
creamy. It's soft.
Yeah.
But I think that's also the lactose as well. I'm starting to use a lot of lactose in all my beers actually.
What is your percentage of lactose? That's for the people listening. That's a milk sugar. that's you find in your castle milk
Non-fermentable.
stouts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't get fermented, so it
Yeah.
remains. So what is it? What percentage do you know on top of your head?
No, I couldn't tell you.
Well, tell me this: where do you put it in the brewing process?
Just before the end of the boil.
Okay.
About 3 minutes. So I mean, all you want to do is just dissolve it in. You don't want to leave it in so long. I've actually realized that if you add the lactose, if you let it boil a lot longer, it actually almost has like a milk taste and smell to it. Whereas if you just dissolve it in just before the end, then it just gives it that body
Yeah.
out.
It's the presence without it being too. It
And
does.
the oats, and the oats as well. Like it just gives us full body creaminess.
Yeah.
Nah, this
They're
is
nice.
incredibly
It's a
creamy.
great, very good head retention.
And we're actually I'm busy aging this on Shiraz barrels in the
Oh, I was going to say this in aged in a barrel would be it's already got the volume that it needs.
Yeah.
Like it's nice and.
It's been 4 months in the barrel now. So what we want to do is give it at least another 2-3 months, and then we want to actually blend it with some fresh stout. So you've got all the Shiraz characters coming from the oak and the wood and everything, and then you also have the fresh stout. So you have the dark chocolate and the coffee and all of that.
Very interesting. I like that.
I think we're planning on launching it in July.
I don't think I've seen
But the thing is, it's really, it's something you have to taste every day. And then one
Yeah.
day, you'll taste it and be like, okay, it's ready.
Yeah.
Let's bottle it.
That's
You
the thing,
You
I
can't
mean,
dictate it.
It's like that's the more you do it, the more you'll have experience. It's like anything. You can't just say this is how you do this type of aging or whatever. You'll know. Okay, the more you do it, like you've got to listen and taste and find out when the right time is.
I mean, your barrels are different from year to year.
Yeah, such
you
a
use them once. you
yeah.
use them
I love
twice.
that part of the industry.
It makes
It's just
things-
stuff.
makes things
Yeah,
interesting.
doesn't make it just
Oh, I love it.
continuously the same, just banging on, go through the motions, things change, which is cool.
So we'll probably only get to try that 6 months time. 4 months?
July, we hoping July.
Good timing.
July, August.
Just
It wasn't an accident.
Just in time for Bastille Festival, which
yeah.
no doubt will it'll be busy.
Yeah, no, I mean we were at Bastille Festival last year.
Is the brewery closed during the festival, but you got to stand somewhere, or you open at the brewery?
We'll be open at the brewery this year,
I remember actually being at Bastille.
and so we
Now that I think back on it,
Wait, rack the old brain.
in the main tent.
Yeah. No,
I
it's
remember having a couple of OPAs.
cheap as
OPAs and wine.
wine. Yeah,
You're
no,
dead.
you steaming.
You're dead. Yeah.
I remember we did pretty well in with a bull competition. You know, this French bull?
Yeah.
We made it to the final. Our team. There's a host of teams that enter. There's like 30 teams. But we were pretty sloshed. But we made it to the final. No, we made it to...
who are you playing against? To be honest, like just to paint a proper picture.
World champions. People who've been playing their whole life. Anyway, we made the semi-final. We had to forfeit because we wanted to go home. It was taking too long, and we just like the guys that were just beaten. Shame, I think they were like school kids. We just smashed them, and then we went up to them and said, "Listen."
I thought you said you came second.
No, I thought we came second.
Okay.
We probably would have come first. Who knows? We don't know. Oh, okay. So this beer is delicious. It definitely deserves us two awards. And now it's gone, which makes me sad. Any further projects or plans that you guys have set up? Any new beer styles that you're thinking about releasing? You don't tell us too much, but it's just us three in the studio here.
Well, we're quite fortunate that at the brewery we've got a small test brewery I mentioned,
sure.
75 liters. So I try to at least always have one different beer on tap. Obviously that's very time dependent. So I mean we are experimenting a lot. For Valentine's Day we did a beetroot beer, which actually worked out surprisingly well. We have a small garden on the property as well, and every now and then our chef will come to us and will come to me and then say he's got X amount of whatever. He had a whole bunch of beetroots and it was during Valentine's Day, so I thought, okay, well, let's try and make a red beer.
Beetroots.
And that actually turned out quite nice. At the moment, got some blueberries as well, so I'm thinking of maybe experimenting a bit with that, make a blueberry vice or something.
That'll be...
Quick question: are you open this weekend?
Yes. Yeah.
Friday, public holiday Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
We always open, except for Monday. Mondays we always close.
Even this public holiday.
Yeah. I think so.
It's my anniversary. So I need to...
Well done, T-Bone. Locking it down yet another year.
Can you imagine, babe, I'm taking you somewhere really nice. It's a brewery.
Yeah.
Jeepers.
Well, I mean, our head chef, he's getting married in the brewery.
Oh, fantastic.
So,
he knows what he's doing.
Muzza, you getting married in Metal Lane?
Yeah.
Hey?
Got a very limited guest list of
2.
13. Yeah.
Guys, believe it or not, we are approaching the end of our show. So, because why? No more beer.
Beers, dunzos.
Beer's out, then there's just really no point in just chatting. I mean, we could, but it would be terrible. Muzza, anything you'd like to say? Anything coming up? Anything exciting? What's happening at your brewery?
Nothing. Just trying to focus on the logistics of getting festivals. I sent that email to someone the other day saying I'm trying to swim, and it's just my lips that are above the water. But yeah, things are going well, and it's just phenomenal to be back on the show.
Well, I can tell you this: the people have missed you, and on hashtag Beer Time, we like to give the people what they want. Mr. Olaf, a big thank you for joining us, for taking the time out, for joining us. These beers you're making are just phenomenal.
Fantastic.
These imperial beers that you're making.
Imperial Pale.
Yeah.
These IPAs.
So I thank you very much for making these delicious beers, and you're doing a great job. So thank you, and guys like you who are making these beers and pushing the craft beer scene and introducing more people to drink the beers, which is what we want, what we need. And for those of you listening, I encourage you to still go out and do that and wave the craft beer flag and just try something different. Hey,
Just do it.
Hey,
Just
try
do
this.
it. Do it
Try
like
the
you
Saison.
do wine.
Try the Saison. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to just have a great time. So, I think that's a great place to finish, a great place to end, a great place to leave. And I wish all our listeners a happy, safe holiday season. I don't know, you can't mention like religious holidays. You just say, have a safe
Well, who's
holiday.
stopping you?
No one really. So, have a good Easter.
I was like, he's still not going to do it.
No, drink that chocolate beer. I know I will. And we will see you again next week, same time, same place. Have a safe weekend. Travel safe. Don't be stupid. Send me a message. Say hi. And gents, thank you very much.
Thanks, T-Bone. Thanks for having us.
Ciao, ciao.
Thanks for listening, guys and girls. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Just search for #BeerTime. That's #BeerTime written out in full. Hope you enjoyed the show, and check you next time. Cheers.